The far-reaching opioid epidemic now hitting children, according to a new study. A rising number of kids are dying from fentanyl poisonings. Fentanyl-related deaths among children increased more than 30-fold between 2013 and 2021, according to a study by the Yale School of Medicine. Between 1999 and 2021, more than 37% of all opioid deaths in children were caused by fentanyl. That number amounts to more than 5,000 children and teen fentanyl-related deaths in those decades.
Joining us now is Gary Blackford. He is the president and CEO of the faith-based recovery group Adult and Teen Challenge. Gary, welcome to you. How much do these statistics that Jenna just mentioned surprise you?
Well, they don't surprise me. It's unfortunate that we're seeing these statistics, but there's certainly no surprises there. I mean, we're seeing isolation at new levels. We're seeing mental health concerns. We're seeing meaning and purpose and identity all being attacked here in the United States. And these kids are lost. They're wondering what's happening. They're wondering where their identity is. And so, unfortunately, it's not a surprise to me.
Yeah, and for kids, with social media and other forms of communication, it's not hard for them to get their hands on these things. Today on the Hill, you and members of Congress participated in the Hope in Recovery Summit. Tell us about that and why faith is so important in the recovery process.
Yeah, we had a great summit today, and we had 4 congressional leaders, both sides of the aisle, that joined us. And we really just had a conversation around why faith matters in recovery. And we shared a lot of statistics. Mayo Clinic was there, Duke University was there, American Bible Society, several congressional leaders. And we talked about the biological, psychological, sociological, and spiritual elements of treating those in addiction. And far too often we ignore the spiritual, when in fact both Mayo Clinic and Duke University shared a lot of research today on faith that matters in a recovery. And we're seeing 80% improvement in those that engage with the Bible in their recovery process. We're seeing data that is mind-blowing when somebody is engaged in a faith community. And so that's what we were talking about on the Hill today. We've got a lot more conversations that were happening that are scheduled, and we're excited.
Gary, it's encouraging to hear that you had members from both sides of the aisle helping with the summit today. Speaking of staggering statistics, just shy of 50 million, 46 million Americans meet the criteria for substance use disorder. How big of a problem is that?
Well, it's over 10% of the U.S. population, right, that struggles with some sort of alcohol or substance use disorder, and rapidly growing. It's just exponential. And as we legalize drugs, as we legalize illicit drugs, and as we bring in all of these elements into our society, we're going to see a rapid growth, if you would, in drug use and alcohol use. And what we're seeing now today at 46 million is just scratching the surface. I believe it's a lot larger than that. The populations that SAMHSA included are missing a couple of key populations, like prison populations, military, et cetera. So the problem is actually much bigger than the 46 million.
Yeah, Gary, why do you think it is getting bigger and bigger? Just a few seconds left.
Sure. Well, I think people are medicating for pain. I think trauma has increased over the last several decades. I think fentanyl crossing our borders and other illicit drugs. I think there's powerful synthetic drugs now that are available in pill form that kids and adults are taking, not realizing the damage and the death that can arise on these overdoses. So we're seeing a lot more happening.
All right, Gary Blackford with Adult and Teen Challenge. Thank you so much for spending time with us this evening.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.